DIJONAI Carrington is looking around the room like, oh my God, I've never been in this much fire. I mean, it's getting so bad that now her endorsements are potentially about to pull out on representing DIJONAI Carrington.
This just goes to show that DIJONAI has no self-awareness in what's going on. DIJONAI Carrington runs on threads immediately. White privilege at Indiana Fever. White privilege. You running around with blonde hair. It looked like you trying to be white. It looked like you trying to be a white girl. What are you talking about, white privilege? The white girl just got a technical foul for something she didn't even do. What are you talking about, white privilege, bro? This is why she should be banned from the league. They always run.
It states here, Reebok is reportedly dropping their endorsement for DIJONAI Carrington after she attacked Sophie Cunningham. Let's go.
Welcome back to the Buzzer Update. I'm here today with yet another significant WNBA story, and I have a lot to discuss. Follow me through to the very end as we discuss what transpired, the most recent responses, and potential future developments. So let's get right into today's story without wasting any time. DIJONAI Carrington's entire career started to collapse in just 1 week. The strangest part is that she was almost entirely responsible for her own injuries. This isn't a story about a referee making a bad call or a league unfairly singling out a player. This article is about a hard foul that may have gone viral in a single news cycle. Additionally, you should think about liking this video and subscribing to the channel because of the choices Carrington made over the course of the day. It may surprise you to learn that almost 90% of viewers have not yet subscribed. Even though it only takes a second and is free, it means the world to us. Have you already subscribed? Fantastic. I sincerely appreciate your help. Let's return to the video now.
Did y'all see what happened when this young lady got ejected from a WNBA game the other day for a flagrant foul on Sophie Cunningham? Did y'all see that? She got ejected from the game for that flagrant foul right there. And I'll be damned if that wasn't a flagrant too. She mugged her. Damn near came across like decapitating her, for crying out loud. That was definitely a hard foul. Make no mistake about it. Nobody can argue about it. You can say what you want. We know what we saw. No way around it. The DIJONAI Carrington foul was clearly unnecessary. It was a flagrant foul penalty too. It was absolutely positively correct call. It was called the flagrant two. That's a flagrant two every single damn time in the NBA and the WNBA.
DIJONAI Carrington had to make a decision at this moment, and she made the wrong decision right away. Just minutes after being carried off the court, before she had even reached the locker room, she specifically mentioned the Fever in a social media post about white privilege. Cunningham's name was already linked to a national discussion about transgender athletes in women's sports without any context or explanation. The next Sky Fever Games date was subsequently shared by Carrington along with an emoji of a smiling face, which many perceived as more of a purposeful prodding of the bear than an accident.
Tweeted out white privilege from the locker room of a game that she was playing in. Get this, she fouls Sophie Cunningham hard. Sophie Cunningham, obviously a white person, fouls her hard. Flagrant two, gets ejected, goes to the locker room and tweets out white privilege in the middle of the game. Now here's the kicker to me. A flagrant two has to be contact that can lead to an injury that looks excessive. DIJONAI, it was about as excessive as possible. If there was any evidence of there being white privilege, this was not.
Think about the optics of the sequence for a moment. A player is ejected after committing a serious foul. Her crew had chastised her because of her racing instead of stopping to collect her breath. Nevertheless, in the days that followed, she would offer 3 more justifications. Once the accusation is made public, it becomes a significant one, even if it is made quietly. You can't really take it back, no matter how hard you try to justify it later.
I actually say that this is black privilege, to be totally honest with you, because her posting this white racist comment right after assaulting Sophie Cunningham on the court is actually black privilege because she knows the WNBA won't do a single thing of significance about it. And imagine if the roles were reversed. If Sophie made a comment similar to this, then she'd likely never play again. And actually, we just saw this from Coach Sandy Brondello. She got disciplined for making, I believe, a pretty innocent, maybe, offhand comment about talking about Angel Reese and saying that she's a protected species. She was suspended and disciplined. And I think if that's the standard, then DIJONAI should be too.
The post was no longer contained. In a matter of hours, the story on basketball social media changed from one about a severe foul to one about racial intent, and whether Carrington was using a serious term to hide a dirty act. None of that broadcast's primary focus was basketball anymore.
Just wondering, is this all some sort of bizarre PR strategy to attract eyeballs, or is the WNBA fundamentally broken?
No. That's you because you're a good person trying to find some kind of rational reason for doing this other than what it is. It's pure and simple racism and hate. They're mad that the best player in the league is a heterosexual white woman. Let's just be honest. She's not one of the confidants in their creed. And so therefore it's been a concentrated effort to go after her. Even her head coach doesn't stand by. So, and I think it's hilarious, and at the same time, they don't know what a woman is. And I'm very proud of Freedom and other gentlemen for finding out who they are. And I wish them the best. And hopefully the league will, since it's an all-tolerant league and their head coaches wear shirts about trans women count, well, here's two. And I hope they give them their opportunity and the young lady in France as well. So I think it's a league that has got away with being racist and disgusting to people. And now they're Americans are smart to it. So hopefully they get some of their own, but I wouldn't let my daughters watch it.
Looks at his own program's post. You hit her in the head. The bleeding was initiated by you. You didn't touch the ball at all, said AKO. He called it incredibly stupid and, in his words, foolish to frame that specific transgression as a result of white privilege. That is a heavyweight in the sports media. A WNBA player was labeled ignorant and stupid on television a few days after being expelled. That's not your average online troll. Someone with a credible platform is testing Carrington's judgment in front of a wide audience. Additionally, if a video like that becomes viral, it becomes the soundbite that follows a player around for a lot longer than the first foul would have. This is the point at which DJI Carrington tried to reconsider. But the way she did it forced you to use your critical thinking skills. I know you were a psychology student. She argued that she would never use a word like that, which she referred to as a rhetorical weapon, without providing evidence. And she went on to claim that she was the furthest thing from ignorant about the subject, having abandoned her Stanford education. She is claiming that she never intended it that way, defending her right to use the phrase and mocking the person who criticized her. It's unclear. Nearly nobody was satisfied with that, which is uncertainty disguised as assurance. Neither the individuals chasing her nor those defending her. If anything, fans who might have given her the benefit of the doubt following the foul itself started to turn against her because it appeared more like someone trying to win an argument she had already lost the moment she hit send on the first post than someone clearing up a misunderstanding because the story was now about more than just a titular exchange.
But if we are paying attention to what DIJONai Carrington did to Sophie Cunningham, it was not a race-based decision. And to call that a white privilege-based foul is to completely undermine the term of white privilege and to also completely ignore the rules in basketball. You hit her in the head, you drew blood, you didn't connect with the ball at all whatsoever. So to me, it was just very ignorant and to some degree asinine by DIJONai Carrington to suggest that that call was based on white privilege. Have we seen examples of white players make that same foul and get away with it? Yes. Have we seen examples of black players make that same foul and get away with it? Yes. There was no white privilege involved in that specific call. DIJONai, you hit her in the head and you drew blood.
2 days later, before Chicago's game against Seattle, Carrington tried out version 3 of the explanation in front of the media. This time, she said the foul was unfortunate and unintentional, and she attributed the timing to Rust's recovery from a foot injury. In the article itself, she again turned elusive, saying only that she had previously spoken with those who might have the power to effect the change she wanted, but she never clarified who she was talking to or what the tweet actually meant. 3 different explanations in 3 days. More unanswered issues were raised by a widely shared post about white privilege that appeared to have nothing to do with the family.
Every single game for the rest of the season counts. And the fact that she let her hate and her ego cost the game for her entire team is so toxic. It goes to show that she has very little respect for her teammates because they all work their absolute asses off. They've all got something to prove. They know that, they started the season with all this hype. They didn't kick it off very strong. And so they have all been working their asses off, coming together, playing patiently. When I say patiently, they've been playing patiently, learning how to actually run the court together. A lot of new pieces. There's been some injuries. There's been people returning from injury. There's been a lot of changes. The fact that they were just on the rise, and as a Fever fan, I can say they were actually schooling us in the first quarter. Like, they came back when we were up 8 points. DIJONai herself was balling out, and she just cost the game for her teammates.
Meanwhile, Sophie Cunningham did the one thing that, in comparison, made Carrington seem even worse. She remained calm. When asked directly about the post following Indiana's victory, Cunningham said, "I believe the league is addressing that race is unrelated to this. After a similar incident last year, I was kicked out, and I deserved it. There is absolutely no reason to talk about race. Just a gentle reminder that she had previously been the victim of a flagrant foul and had taken her own punishment without protest. No demands, no shouting." Particularly appealing to sponsors and franchises are split-screen scenarios in which one player remains composed while another finds it difficult to interpret 3 different responses. Who is right on that specific basketball play doesn't really matter at that point. Every time a microphone is put in front of someone, it's about who seems to be able to handle pressure and who seems to be making things worse. Cunningham seems to be the most responsible person in the room after that exchange. Carrington comes out of it as if she still doesn't know what to say.
Posted white privilege after getting tossed from the game, but says it wasn't about the foul. Can you explain this?
No, I can't. When she tweeted white privilege, she did it so quickly, it was almost as though she had the phone in her pocket after this foul and she got ejected. So, I mean, to say she wasn't referring to this play or getting kicked out and saying that the only reason she got kicked out and it got upgraded is because Sophie Cunningham is white is crazy. It was a crazy thing to tweet, maybe crazier than to try to act like it had nothing to do with the play. So I have no idea what she's talking about. I don't think anybody can have any idea what she's talking about.
This brings us to the part of the story where DJ Carrington's job is actually in danger. When Reebok signed Carrington to a multi-year contract in April of last year, building on her as the most improved player and all-defensive first-team awards, she became the face of the brand's basketball relaunch alongside the J sneaker. It made her one of the league's up-and-coming commercial faces before the season began and was a significant deal at the time. But as soon as this subject came out, fans started instantly flooding Reebok's pages. Reebok should immediately terminate DJ Carrington's endorsement contract. Describe, the brands closely monitor their comment sections when negative comments start to dominate.
Oh my God, it's getting real. It is getting very much real. For in the field, for them pockets. That's what I like to see. Pockets getting hit hard, bro. Hard. Because somebody need to hold these players accountable for the stupidity they have been putting out. Because it has been a lot of stupidity. And to add even more salt to injuries, thousands of people are calling for Reebok to drop their endorsement for DIJONai Carrington after she attacked Sophie Cunningham. Now, this was from earlier this morning.
According to reports, Reebok is taking steps to end its relationship with Carrington entirely rather than risk being linked to a contentious dispute. Exactly what those fans were asking for. Think about the actual consequences for a brand in light of the many rumors that are now circulating. A signed athlete contract is not taken lightly by businesses. There are contracts. That face has already been the focus of marketing initiatives. We've already spent real money. Reebok's purported rapid withdrawal shows how poorly their internal evaluation of the matter is going. They snorted, desired separation, and desired it immediately. Because a company's name appears in headlines, they never asked to be a part of every week that they continue to be involved in a situation like this.
But when black people do some foolishness, they gotta be held accountable just like any other damn race. And I'm telling you right now, she need to be held accountable. So Reebok, stick it to her. Stick it to her. Because what she did was ruined a brand deal like no other. She ain't even all that on the basketball court anyways. Common sense would have told you not to clothesline Sophie Cunningham from hell. Because you want to know why? The backlash you're going to get from that decision will affect your pockets. And I'm so happy that these brands are now seeing what we've been seeing. A whole lot of BS going on from these players. And I'm telling you right now, more players need to lose brand deals when they do stupidity, especially to Caitlin.
No one wants to articulate this truth plainly, so let's do it. This was all unnecessary. A flagrant foul happens in basketball. Players take the fine after being fired and go on, and a week later, the episode is only remembered in a highlight reel. That didn't depress DIJONai Carrington. She was sunk by the song that came after the whistle. A harmful word and no context were used to tag the fever in an instant post. She was clearly looking forward to round 2 based on her joyful smile. The hostile response to a critic instead of a straightforward explanation at first, followed by a press conference that offered a third version of events instead of a forthright answer. All of those circumstances were voluntary. That first post wasn't forced upon her. Nobody forced her to take revenge on AKO in a manner that appeared more like an argument triumph than damage control. And when a business is keeping an eye on everything in real time and trying to decide whether to keep paying an athlete to represent their shoes, that pattern is more significant than the initial infringement. Sponsors do not sign athletes in an attempt to control controversy. They sign athletes in the expectation that they won't generate headlines and force the business to deal with problems it didn't want to.
DIJONai Carrington, after getting thrown out of the game for her ridiculous foul on Sophie Cunningham, went to social media and claimed white privilege. To do that, Emmanuel Acho basically pushed back and said you can't call everything white privilege. It undercuts the idea so many have talked about. And then DIJONai went to X and responded to Emmanuel Acho. He said, I never once claimed that the assessment of the foul was white privilege. That was your assumption. Try exercising your critical thinking skills. No, you studied psych. Furthermore, I'm the last thing from ignorant or asinine when it comes to speaking on white privilege. Do your research on that one. I actually went to school, one of the top universities, might I add, to educate myself on this exact subject. I would never use that term as a rhetorical weapon, knowing the historical and social weight it holds without having the proper evidence to substantiate it. So, in your face, Annual. What I want to know is, then why were you posting white privilege in the locker room immediately after being ejected? What were you randomly sitting in the locker room having just been ejected thinking about when you posted white privilege, and by the way, tagged the Indiana Fever?
The front offices of the league start to covertly wonder if hiring her will lead to more distraction than productivity. Previously uninterested fans now have a very specific motive to make fun of her at all times.
Jail. She needs to go to jail immediately.
You would have
jail.
to believe it's going to be
no pass, go straight to jail. This is assault, right? This is assault. Now let me tell you something. This is assault. She needs to go to jail. Premeditated. Go to jail. Go to jail. She needs to be arrested. Go to jail. I want her in jail. I want her in jail. She should never touch her. Nah, can't do it. All right, we already know the WNBA is in a position right now. You need to make an example of that Don Imus. That Don Imus needs to be made an example of. That Don Imus needs to be made an example of. She needs to go to jail for assaulting Miss Cunningham. She needs to go to jail immediately.
Let's talk about black privilege for a second. Doing something completely wrong and unethical, and instead of taking responsibility, pulls out the race card and acts like a victim. Yeah, that's what we just witnessed here. The sheer lack of accountability on DIJONAI's end, that was so intentional. Look at DIJONAI staring at Sophie's head the whole time, and look at her reaction after. That's anger. A normal reaction would be to ask if Sophie was okay or immediately apologize. But instead, she shoves her. The audacity to go and cry wolf and pull out the fake victim card and scream white privilege, all the while making Sophie Cunningham bleed as a result to her actions. People are tired of everything being blamed on race. I wouldn't be surprised if DIJONAI did this in response to Sophie Cunningham coming out vocally in response to protecting women in women's sports. This was not white privilege. Under DIJONAI's definition of white privilege, here's some more white privilege. Getting ejected from the game was called consequences to actions, and DIJONAI should be thankful that an ejection is all that happened, because she ought to be suspended from the entire.
Once more, compare that to Cunningham's response a year ago after he was the victim of an obvious foul. She got kicked out. She said she deserved it. Furthermore, she didn't expand the plot beyond what was required. That's what makes a challenging evening different from a professional disaster. One player lost the moment. The other one kept playing music to keep it going. Post after post, explanation after explanation, until a business that had really bet money on her reputation concluded it was no longer worth the risk. The lesson at the heart of this entire tale is actually that talent is what signs an athlete. Their elegance is what keeps them signed. For DJI Carrington, the first one has always been excellent. There isn't much evidence to the contrary. Her on-court performance is self-evident. But this past week's events showed how rapidly the second one may vanish. How little margin for error there is after every quote and post is seen by millions of people, and every attempt to clean up a mess that became bigger with each explanation. DJ Carrington was able to get a footwear deal despite one serious foul. She had every chance to settle down in the days that followed, but she didn't, and now she's going wild over everything she said. It's also possible that this Reebok episode may just be remembered as the first domino rather than the last, if she doesn't swiftly change how she reacts to the next headline.